Welcome to the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast, episode 297. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. In this show, we will be discussing Mag 40, the DWX, a Signal, and a full-size 22 long rifle. I'm your host, Chad Wallace, and with me tonight are Frickin' Frack, or also known as Rob and Tony. I don't know who Frickin' Frack are. They just, somebody put it in the show notes. So, what did you guys do in firearms?
Well, since Tony's muted, I'll go ahead and go. I wasn't on last week, was I? Oh, yeah, that's because I got roped into the Friends of NRA. We were giving out our annual or semi-annual banquet proceeds. Basically, when you go to the NRA Friends banquets, half the money stays in the state, half the money goes outside the state. The money that stays in the state once a year, in Florida they do it twice a year. The committee heads meet and we vote on how much money to divvy up and who to divvy it up to. So if you're looking to get NRA Friends money, hit up some committee heads and then go to the banquets. But anyways, that lasted from 7 to almost 10:30, 10:45, and it was just fun. It was a mess though, because you had 20 people, 30 people on a conference call. So either everybody was talking or nobody was talking. Let's see, then before that we had the NRA banquet, which, I didn't tell these guys this, but they're trying to rope me into being the committee chair for our banquet next year, and I'm trying to see if I can weasel my way out of it, because I don't know what I'm doing. And then
you don't
after
have to
that,
know what you're doing, Rob.
No, you have to have a degree of organization and professional decorum. I have neither. I am the most disorganized person on the planet, and I make Donald Trump look very professional. Okay, I am not professional. I mean, the people will be like, "We're never coming to another one of these bleeping banquets again if I take over it." But we'll see what happens, because all the people that are in charge of it this year quit. So,
yeah,
or stepping down. And then I spent the latter part of last week, at the Masada U Group Mag 40 class, which I'm not going to go into it now because I think I'm going to be doing a review on it later on tonight, right?
Correct.
That
after
Mag 40
action,
class. Ooh.
Your after action report is our review.
Oh, is that
of
what
the night.
we call it? An after action report? That is so
well,
spiffy.
You can come up with whatever AAR stands for, because I didn't write it out. So just don't, it's still a family friendly podcast. So you can't say certain things.
Hey, after action report sounds cool.
Yeah. Well, I didn't come up with it. So.
Hey, whatever. Yeah. I just had no idea what it meant.
Okay. Tony.
Me?
Sure. What'd you do?
Well, I put this together because, High Tower Armory came through again. So they sent out their 1022 kit for this thing. Dang, I really wish. Hold on. It's the HTA, High Tower Armory 9022. And it works with your regular 1022. You take your 1022 out of the stock and you put it inside this kit. Now, a lot of people saw these when they were on Red Jacket. Red Jacket makes this too. This one is less expensive than the Red Jacket version. And as people talking about, the trigger pull. Dude, this trigger pull, and this is a regular Ruger 1022. I didn't have the other one has the BX trigger. This trigger pull is sweet. I mean, it is not. It is better than the trigger pull that's on the High Point version of their bullpup. So I can't wait to get it to the range. I put everything together. I'm not going to have this optic on it. I'm actually going to use one of the Walmart brand, whatever the inexpensive thing that I picked up from Walmart. I'm going to use that optic on it because this one sits too high. So that'll be at the range for me tomorrow.
Sweet.
Oh yeah, Atlas Defense now. It's not Red Jacket anymore because, some people mess up your
we
company
won't go
name.
there, but
some people mess up your company name and you got to change it.
Yeah.
What else did I do? All right, I put that together. More paperwork for more stuff because Jersey, if you order a pistol, you got to do paperwork on it. And I think that's it. If I think anything else I did, I'll let you know. But I think that was it.
Okay, if you know Oregon's still okay. If you order a pistol here, you only have to do the 4473 or whatever. But what kills you is when you have to transfer that paperwork from your wallet to them. That's
Yeah,
what kills
right.
you.
It's
That's
just
the easy
plastic.
part
It
here.
only hurts for a minute. Don't worry about it. Just pay for it, you cheap booger.
I know. Well, I guess it's my turn. I did shoot a Halloween themed steel match. There's some videos and pictures on Instagram if you want to go over there. I was shooting that Foresight that I have in for review from Emperor Light. It seems to work quite nicely. I did have a 1.80 second run, 5 shots, shooting a 22 rifle. Uh, Great. It was that sight worked great. Peer pressure had me maybe have it fall on the ground, and it still held 0 and did not break. So that's a big plus. Yesterday, I got in the Mantis X10. It's mounted on a pistol, so you just get to see the box.
Oh, is that the new Mantis
Yes, the
firearm sensor?
Yes, and I am super thrilled. If you go back in time, I did have one of the original ones, and I actually liked it.
Me too. I've got one. It's
The
fun.
X10 does all the stuff the original one does, but it does a few extra things. It will also do draw stroke, and the most important part for me is it will do a recoil style graph, stuff like that. So when I do compensator reviews, stuff like that, then
Wow, you can do comparative.
I can do a comparative with actual data. Even if the data's not perfect, it's better than no data. So yeah, that's the thing I'm really looking forward to.
Hey, Chad.
Yes.
When I was at Mag 40, one of the last day, Mass had a open session, and I asked him, I said, what do you think about that Mantis system? He looked at me and goes, wait till you see the new one they're coming out with.
No, he said, "Wait till you see the new one they're coming out with." Mass
Yeah, pretty
IU
much.
Mass IU makes Darth Vader sound like he's going into puberty.
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
a cigarettes that he smokes.
Yeah, cigars, cigarettes. Who knows?
No, he smokes. Well, what the heck does he? I gotta remember what the heck he calls them.
But
Filterless Pall Mall.
His work-free smoke place, or his anti-hippie device, or anti something or another device.
But that's what I did. I shot steel, and even though I was cheating because I was shooting a 22 carbine, 22 long rifle, that is, I did place 9th out of 60 people. So I figured,
Nice.
hey, I was
Top 10.
But yeah, top 10. But then if you look at my class that had seven, eight people, and I placed 5th. The first stage, the gun did not run at all. Literally, I had 230 seconds. It kept jamming up, and then after that, one
What the heck
jam.
were you
Then
shooting?
it's a 22 long rifle conversion for a AR.
Oh,
And then after that, the next stage, it was pretty cold. It was 30.
was it one of those drop-in kits?
Yeah, it was a senior kit that
CMG?
I've had for years. I think maybe the firing pin might need replaced, and I have a spare, so I'm going to replace it. But then after that, it worked flawlessly.
What is that?
And
if you cut off the first half inch of your firing pin, it goes full auto, right?
Yeah, right.
Now, Rob, it's time for the disclaimer. Thanks to Tony.
Yeah, we better say it right now. This is not legal advice, nor should it be considered as such. Do not follow the advice of the hosts of this show.
Right. So, I'll do that, and then I'll take it out and try it again because I've never had any problems with it before. That's kind of why I took it out there, and I'm like, well, it could happen to be the problem with the 7.5-inch barrel. Just doesn't have enough oomph to cycle it, but it would load them. It just wouldn't fire it. And it didn't matter ammo. I was using CCI mini bags, which is good ammo, but I tried it with some federal stuff, and it did the same thing. So I don't know, but it ended up working fine. So there's that. I guess we'll get into the announcements now. Bandwidth sponsor, Patriot Patch Co. Go check out the new patch of the month for next month. They are awesome. It's like an eagle with nods or something.
That is not an eagle. That's a turkey, dude.
Oh, sorry.
That is not an eagle.
It's
got a big
Holy
head and it's
crap.
fat as
I
all
just-
get out. That's
I
a
just-
turkey.
You know,
If that-
I'm so glad I have co-hosts that can straighten me out.
It's a turkey with nods and a shotgun with a bandolier on it. Tony,
Hey.
tell me that's a turkey, right?
I don't know. I have to go look now. Oh,
Dude, if that's an eagle, that is
Okay.
the ugliest
It's
eagle
a,
I've ever seen. It's a turkey. You know how you can tell it's a turkey? Because turkey said the ugliest. My uncle said they have a nice face but a scrotum for a throat.
ew. Okay,
Ew,
well, I can't
okay,
unsee
it's a
that in my
turkey.
head. Thanks.
Yeah, me neither. Well,
You and your weird effing
now that-
uncle. Thank you.
now that Patriot Patch Co. is no longer going to sponsor us.
I don't think they have a choice. I think we have a lifetime commitment from Jake.
Okay, hold on. I can see where he thought that was an eagle.
I
except-
literally just scrolled past it and that was it, okay?
except the scrotum hanging beneath his beak. Thanks, I can't unsee that. But that is pretty freaking cool, dude.
And then there's like a cart or not a cart, but
It's a push cart. One of those like a
like at Home Depot or
yeah. It's got
Full
a
of
shotgun
guns.
and an AK and a SCAR and some grenades on it. And that's a mortar launcher, right? Of some sort.
I don't know. I didn't, like I said, I scrolled
What is
past
that,
it. I don't
Tony?
know.
What's
are
that,
you
bro?
looking at it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me click back on it. It's a that's
Looks like
a mortar.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It says,
Yeah, it's a mortar.
and it looks like a little, I want to say a Glock with a silencer, but that's a pretty cool little setup for this month. I can't wait to get it.
Yep. So check out gunstreamer.com if you want some firearms videos. If you're shopping Amazon, use our firearms.tv/Amazon affiliate link. And tonight only, because of the pre-show, we are placing a free ad for Daltech Force belts. Why? Because we were all saying how much we liked them.
True.
True.
And they make Tony size belts. So if you're Tony size, you can get a belt. They have really good they have really good prices on their belts. You can get leather, you can get their Super Bio, which is some sort of plastic indestructible, and Tony hasn't broken his in like 3 years, so it must be good. I think Rob has one of the leather ones with
two.
a steel insert or something, and he likes it. I have one of the Super Bio ones. I love it, except for it's so stiff that I don't wear it normally.
Well, the thing with those belts is you have to actually put them on. I found you put them on your pants first before you put your pants on. Then you makes it a lot easier to get them on. Because if you try to put them on when
yeah.
you're wearing your pants, forget it.
I have a story that
Huh?
my wife always
Really?
With the
yeah.
steel insert, Tony, they don't bend very easy to get
Even-
them around your back.
Even the Super
So I
Bio
just put
ones
them on the
don't
pants.
bend.
Put them through. I just loop them through the pants first. Put the holster on there, then pull them up.
Yeah.
All right. I have to take my belt off, of course, about 20 times a day working in a prison. No, I am not taking my pants off in the lobby of a prison every day to put my belt.
And I am sure that everybody else
find out
is
how much you're
very happy.
loved.
Uh-huh. So I decided to give them a free ad. There is a review that I did ages ago. So if you search for belts on the firearmsinsider.tv, I'm sure it'll show up. Now, Rob, you can say your famous last words.
What the famous last words?
That will
go.
probably be his last words, too.
Wow. Oh boy. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual co-hosts and do not reflect the official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network and or their employers. This is not legal advice, nor should it be considered as such. Viewer discretion is advised. This is especially true on live shows to the, one or two people that are actually watching this right now.
We have 9.
And now, we don't
One's
have an actual
Tony.
review, but I'm going to give you an
It's a-
after-action report on the Mag 40 class.
We could
Right?
call it an after-action review if you wanted.
I don't care. We'll just call it the AAR
Yeah,
on
that
the
sounds
MAG
great.
40.
Yeah. So take it away, Rob.
Woohoo! Let's see. Yeah, I've taken a crap load of classes over the last 10, 12 years I've been in firearms, and Mass Ayub comes up a lot. And since he's getting up there in age, I decided, if I take a class with him, I better take a class soon before, he decides to quit or something unfortunate happens to him. So I signed up for the Mag 40 they have in Live Oak this past, last week or the week before that. It's a 40-hour class, and they run this particular one 4 10-hour days, Wednesday through Saturday. So you travel up Tuesday, do the class, travel back Saturday evening, and then I was home back in Port St. Lucie on Saturday night. And one thing that was interesting, though, is when you register for the class, I actually had to send them a copy of my concealed carry permit, and they require that just to make sure you're the quote-unquote good guy, and make sure you're not somebody trying to learn their stuff for nefarious reasons. Let's see. Yeah, the course is divided into basically you got the Mag 20 class and the Mag 20 range. It's basically both of those courses together. And Tony's drinking Jameson. Good Tony. Nice. Oh dear God. Okay. If you're watching the camera, you're watching Tony get drunk. So 4 10-hour days. They tried to divvy up the class into 5 hours class, 5 hours range, so you didn't get too overwhelmed. But the problem is Sunday or Saturday looked like rain, so they loaded the shooting on Friday, so Saturday was a range class. But the first day we started at 8 o'clock on Wednesday registration, and you get right into the lecture. Now, Mass's philosophy is he'll introduce the video and then play a video, which is a lecture ranging from 45 minutes, some of them are an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then at the end, they'll take questions and answers after the video. His philosophy for this is if you follow his instructions, you can preserve the information and make it discoverable in court. So the best thing you can have on your side in court is an educated jury. So if you can discover it in court, then guess what? You can play the videos before the jury. And I would love to know how a prosecutor could cross-examine a video. Kind of hard to do that. And I will say that in the notes in here, you do spend more than 10 hours in the classes. Most of them we began at 8 and didn't end until after 6. I mean, it was very late for all days except for that Saturday. We got out around 5:30, I think. The lecture part covers, this is really high level stuff, the concept of ability, opportunity, jeopardy, the color codes of awareness, the OODA loop or OODA loop, because that's one thing we learned is I forgot the guy's name who invented it. He doesn't like the term OODA. He likes it to be called the OODA. Standards of proof, tool or drill for the 50th time. Affirmative defense, court cases, how to document training so it can be used in court. And also one of the things too is selection of counsel, because a lot of defense attorneys have never practiced defending an innocent person. Most of the people they see, they're just trying to keep them out of prison. And it's a totally different concept when you're saying, I acted in self-defense, so yes, I had to shoot that person or take that action, but I was in the right and I was within the law, and here's the reason why. And of course, there's one section of the class on the last day that was he calls it proprietary, and he asked not to be revealed outside the people that take the class. But he was kind of interested in that if instructors take the class, he said, you can tell this to your students, but not on a first level, make it be a second or third level class, a higher level class. And there's some really good information in that particular section. And the range was,
Wait a minute. What does he not want you to tell your students until the second or third level?
Well, there's some stuff in there about, it's primarily deals with handling yourself after you take action or after you do something, what to do, what to say, how to maneuver, how to deal with police, how to deal with law enforcement, how to deal with
Okay.
the bystanders, that kind of stuff.
All right.
Okay.
I understand. I understand where he's coming from. I
Yeah.
really do.
Mhm.
And everybody runs their class their own way.
Mhm.
Now, I'll go ahead and say the reason I don't like that
Mhm.
is because I understand sometimes that's the only class these people take. It was pulling teeth to get them in their first class.
Mhm.
So, and I understand again what he's saying. So, my suggestion to anybody that takes a class, any class, is to go ahead and get that supplemental insurance or whatever you call, second call defense or USCCA,
ACLDN, yeah.
all of them, and they give you that information as part of your membership. Don't wait around to figure out what to say to a cop if you're really serious about your self defense. And hey, the Mag 40 class, I 100% say take that sucker, but get as much information as you can beforehand because nothing's
Yeah.
worse than talking your way into a murder charge after a good shoot.
Well, yeah, it's not only that, but also there are people around the scene. How do you comport yourself around those people? What do you say to them? How do you secure the scene, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And his whole thing was he didn't want to have criminals getting a hold of this information and using it to try to make themselves look innocent or look not as guilty or what have you. I'm probably not saying it exactly right. But I am a member. A side note: I am a member of ACLDN, the Armed Citizen Legal Defense Network. Is when I joined, they sent me a stack of DVDs to watch, and they say when you watch them, document it again for preservation for court records. And you watch them, and it's some of the same information, but there's a lot more in the Mag 40 or in the Mag 20. Now, one thing we do a safety briefing, go out to the range, and the range here was in a quarry almost, and it's just basically 15 yards was the longest we shot. One thing about him is you'll see some instructors that are, oh, you got to use isosceles, Weaver, Chapman, blah blah. He's like, we're going to use all of them. You're going to shoot standing, kneeling. You're going to shoot from, they call it the crouch position, and you're going to do all that even on the test at the end where it's I think it's IPSC, the little cutout cardboard targets that look like a person, where they've got the A, B, and C zones, and they use it 5, 4, and 3 points, and it's a 225 out of 300 is a score. One thing too that y'all really need to know is there's a strong emphasis on safety. He has no toleration or no. He doesn't tolerate people's crap on the range. So if you do anything that results in a violation, first day they take your gun and you go watch. The second time, you're out. And he said during class, if I kick you out and you want to sue me, knock yourself out. I'll come down to your jurisdiction and I'll testify to court and I'll tell the judge that you have no business whatsoever owning a firearm. So it's it's very strict there, and they also too have a full-time paramedic with AED, trauma kit, etc. on the range at all times, which is a good thing. Let's see, did I miss anything? No, try them all. Yeah, the class does have a test. It's multiple choice, 25 questions, and all this, again, all of it's discoverable in a court of law. And I guess the conclusion part is basically you've got some instructors that are flashy, have great internet profiles, do all these videos and crap and show you all this stuff online. Not Mass. Hell, Mass doesn't even have a Facebook profile anymore. What he brings to it is a lifetime of knowledge and experience, and he presents it in a logical, straightforward, and no BS manner. He doesn't have time to deal with people wanting to argue and nitpick and stuff like that. And during the class, there wasn't a whole lot of it. There were good questions that were asked, and you didn't have. And nobody really got into this. Well, I'm going to try to pick a fight with the professor, and I'm going to try to argue with Mass because I got a funny feeling if you would have, he'd have just shot you down, and you'd have been like, okay, I'll go off and lick my wounds. I will say that the class was worth the price of admission, and anyone who carries a weapon or wants to learn how to better defend themselves, I highly recommend taking it. Some notes from me, extra items I should have brought, notepads. The first day I brought a notepad. I filled it up the second day. I went and bought another one the evening of the second day, and I filled that one up. So I took so many notes it isn't funny. I mean, I just wore my hand out taking notes. Folding chair for the range. That bloody range has no chairs on it, so they have plastic chairs that they just kind of leave out there. You borrow those chairs, you're pretty much sitting in ick. So bring yourself a good folding chair. Water, they do recommend, and they do tell you to take a lot of water, because when you're on the range, they pretty much divvy the group up into Team A and Team B, and half you shoot at one time, and half of you are reloading, watching, or hydrating. And one thing, if you really want to get into Mass's good grace, bring a case of Rolling Rock extra pale long neck bottles. Show up with those, and you'll get an autograph for your book. When I took the class now, it's normally $800. Herman Gunter, who runs it out of Live Oak, $100 discount for early registration. I figure about $400 for the hotels, another $100 for meals, $120 for gas, miscellaneous travel. So for me, it wound up being about $1,300 for that 4-day class plus what?
That's a lot of 4-day class. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yes, I said Mag 40-hour class, 4 10-hour days, and I really liked it. I got a lot out of it. There's a bunch of handouts he gives us. And one thing he does do is, he says for his students, if you have to defend yourself, he'll travel and testify for free, and he'll work as part of your defense. And he explains how he'd do that and what would be involved in it. Again, he's going to evaluate and make sure it was a good action that you took. If it's not good, he'll say, "Yep, thank you, have a nice day." But he said he's had to testify for a few of his students. And afterwards, I asked him, I said, "Well, how many times have you actually gone to testify and actually had to play your videos?" And he goes, "None, because once we open the records and we show them to the judge and the prosecutor, they'll look at my videos and go, I ain't putting this in front of a jury," and they'll just drop the charges.
Wow.
Because the videos are about 15 hours of in-depth training. I mean, they cover self-defense laws. They cover, like I said, ability, opportunity, jeopardy, what the rules of retreat are, the fact that just every state has a castle doctrine. No state not a castle doctrine, but no state has a duty to retreat. Either the rules for castle doctrine, you're basically educating the jury rather than just telling the jury. You're educating the jury with videos, and the videos are set so that anybody who's never heard of the law could listen to them, watch them, and go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, they definitely don't want that. They definitely do not want that in the jury.
They want an uneducated jury.
Yeah,
they want a jury who thinks that you have to retreat before you can defend yourself.
And once you educate the jury, hopefully they're smart enough to be like, "Oh, okay, I understand now."
I mean, like I said, Matt said, I've taken classes, and I've not had very many instructors that will actually testify for you or will volunteer to testify for you unless you subpoena them. And a lot of them, and it's also the documentation, because what's said and even notes you take, that can be questionable how you're going to get that introduced into a court of law, especially if the instructor's not around. And one thing Mass did say is in his will, he's got it set up so that his videos will be maintained for, I think, 20 or 25 years after he passes away. So in case something happens, you can do a friendly subpoena and they'll send you the videos to play for the jury.
Wow. He's going to have greatest hits blasting for longer than Tupac.
Yeah.
20 years later. Hey, why not?
I mean, was the class fun? Absolutely. I mean, I had a great time in the class. I mean, Mass was great. The other students were great. Herman was fun. His wife is a hoot. I mean, she's a blast. She's like 5'2", but man, I wouldn't want to take her off because she probably,
Did Gail tell you her story about what she did at NRA in Georgia?
How she ran a shotgun, or they ran a shotgun and put a bunch of cops to shame or something like that?
Oh, no.
Or was that another one? Because
during NRA in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, Gail Pepin is his girlfriend? Whatever.
No, they got married, I heard. I was told they got married. So, yeah.
Whatever.
Right. Gail is a hilarious lady, fun to talk to, full of stories. So I meet them for the first time in life, real life, at NRA. So I'm hanging out with Gail, and just somebody comes into the green room and goes, "Hey, Mom's Demand Action is having a protest in the park." Gail's like, where? They were like, oh, it's 15 minutes walking distance. Let's go. Dude, I was like, I had to go and I actually did an interview with Cam Edwards. That's the only reason I wasn't there. Her, Weird Beard, and Sean from what was the name of the podcast?
Gun and
Weird
Gear
Aaron
or
Palermo.
Gun Blog?
No, yeah, Gunblog Variety Cast. Sean all went down there, got shirts from Mom's Demand, and then took pictures with the people from Mom's Demand Action while wearing Mom's Demand shirt, and all of them, of course, were concealed carrying. It's hilarious.
Oh man, I think it was her. They were saying they're doing a story where there was a shotgun shoot, and I think it was her, or I don't know, but it's one of these where they're telling a story toward the end of the day, and you're like, okay, yeah, and then, but the point is, she went up there, ran shotguns with a bunch of cops and a bunch of other military people and blah blah blah, and smoked them all. It's like, here's the overall high score for the class, and they call Gail up there. I think Gail or somebody, and she's like, "Hi," and she said you could hear or maybe that was on the Polite Society podcast. Crap, I'm getting my stories mixed up. I don't know.
Does it really matter?
Nope, but it's a funny story. Anyways, yeah, like I said, I gave it a 9.5 only because Chad wouldn't allow me to give it a 10. I really enjoyed this class, and I've taken the Andrew Bronco classes. There's some overlap, but maybe 20%, 30%. They both, Andrew and Mass, both have a very high degree of respect for each other, and they're both very knowledgeable in what they do. But there is way more difference between the two classes, and you can tell it by taking them.
So what did the class cost?
$700. I got the breakdown at the bottom of the report.
Okay.
At the bottom of the AAR.
Yeah.
Now it's $800. You posted it, you goober.
I know that, but people are asking me, and I figured you needed to say, because not everybody goes to the firearmsinsider.tv and
the
reads
baseline
it.
for the class is $800, but and this might be just for Mag 40 at Live Oak. Herman gives you a $100 discount if you register early. And I would take that class again, actually.
I've heard of people taking it multiple times. Yeah.
There were 3 people in the class taking it for the second time, and there was somebody in our class who was from Slovenia taking the class. He came over, and they had to loan him a gun and a belt to be able to shoot the horse.
Right, because it's not like he has anything here.
No.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah, because I've been looking at the course, and it's really important, man. If you're going to take one of these courses, you got to plan that stuff out like a year in advance. At least I do with my money, because it's like $700 for the course. Mm-hmm. Then how many round course was it?
500. They say 500 rounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I didn't put that on the frickin' I forgot that. I'm sorry. I forgot that cost on the
right. I mean, plus ammo, basically.
And I put the food on there. I kind of maybe lowball the food, but what they do during the class is they pass around a lunch menu for the local restaurants, and you just write down what you want or circle what you want, fill it out, and they'll call it in and deliver it to you, and you just settle up on Friday.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Was there range fees too, or no?
No, the range is basically a private range. It's on a farm in the middle of nowhere.
Right. So that, of course, depends on where they have it at.
It's included with the class. And I will say this: if you've got a lowrider car, or somebody said they had a Prius get stuck going down there, because you're going down into a pit, and there's a pretty steep grade. So
I'd like to say that's pretty cool if you're going to do it. A lot of the ranges are on back roads and whatever, so get ready to catch a ride with somebody. That's what we had to do in St. Louis. That's what we had to do here in Jersey when I take classes, because ranges by their nature are in the middle of nowhere for the most part.
Yeah, and there's not a whole lot of parking out there. By the way, at the range there is one portalet, and they say that's for the women, or if you got to pee, there's like 5,000 trees. Find a tree.
Yeah, I get
so
you.
Just keep that in mind too. And I brought a cooler with some water in there, and that was good enough. I brought a couple ammo boxes with a crap load of ammo. You want to wear a hat. You want to wear, if you're susceptible, sunscreen, because you're out there all day. They'll shoot rain or shine. they try to restructure the class schedule, so because Saturday was supposed to pour, they said, we don't want to be out there pouring, so they had us get the shooting done on Friday. So we spent all day Saturday in the freaking classroom, and that was, oh my god,
Awesome.
Doesn't sound like fun.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
But
Well,
great information, great material. I love it, and I don't want to take up too much more time.
okay. Well,
If you have any
that
questions,
that was
shoot me an email.
awesome. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was awesome. Actually, yeah. If you don't know Rob's email, you can just send us
It's-
an email and
No,
I'll
it's
get it done.
pilot30w@gmail.com. Pilot30w
Oh, yeah, that
at gmail.com.
That rolls off the freaking tongue. Yeah, send it
Yeah.
to where, chat?
Gungearreview@gmail.com.
There you go. I don't care.
And we'll send it to
him. I don't
Rob. There you go.
Yeah. Rob's email address is Wright Brothers First Flew in 1892.
And Tony was there with them.
That's just rude.
No, that
It
was
was
Chad.
supposed to be
Chad was
goof
there
on-
with them.
That was supposed
Chad
to be
was the
goof
one
on
who took
Rob.
the picture during the flight. Chad took
Nice.
the picture.
No, I drew the picture. Well, thanks, Rob.
And now let's get on to some product spotlight. And up
We
first
are.
for review, we have the Dan Wesson DWX.
Oh,
Ugh.
Not a
yeah.
review. It's not a review.
It's
It's
a
a product
discussion.
spotlight. That's what I said. Product
You
spotlight.
said review. I heard you.
Oh.
Do I have to cut that out now?
Discussion.
Where's my mute button for Rob?
Mhm.
We have the Dan Wesson DWX. Like he said, MSRP is $17.99. And though you may think this is expensive, it's not. Okay, I want one of these. That's all I'm going to say.
wait. All right, were they all ready?
Yeah. Description. Oh, basically, Dan Wesson melded a 1911 wide body with a CZ pistol frame, and what you get is the DWX. It is a full size pistol. They're going to offer it in a compact variant. It's locked breech. It uses the CZ style as opposed to the 1911 link system, which isn't the greatest when you can use other systems. It is a hammer fired. It is bushingless barrel, so it kind of resembles their P10, as they said. Double stack magazine capacity with 19 plus 1 flush base pads in the 9mm version. Sights are easily customizable. The front is a 1911 style dovetail sight. The rear is a CZ Shadow 2 style cut. Okay, I would have kind of probably kept them the same, but hey, that works for me. Let's see, I think it uses standard CZ75 grips, which is nice. Standard mag wells for a CZ75. And as we said, it's 9mm. It is a steel frame. They call it a duty finish. Basically, it's some black finish. The grips are aluminum in this case. You can get, of course, others. Overall length is 8.52. Barrel length, it is a 5-inch barrel. Most CZs, I think, run a 4.5 or something to that effect. Height is 5.85 inches. It is only 1.25 inches wide. It does weigh 43 ounces. It is a single action. Has a fiber optic front side adjustable rear. It has an ambi thumb safety. From what I hear, reading other articles, some of the parts are compatible with 1911s. The other parts are compatible with CZ75s. So, like you said, it does run a flat style trigger, which looks to be like a 1911 as a straight pull style. They run front and rear strap checkering, mainspring housing. It does have a 1913 pick rail. They run a square hammer, which is like a commander hammer. By the looks of it, the safeties, trigger, and let's see, not the trigger, but the safeties and the hammer look to be like 1911 style. It does not have a grip safety, which I am super thrilled about. The takedown is like a CZ. You just pop the slide release and the whole thing comes apart. I'm probably missing all kinds of stuff. You can get it in 40 Smith and Wesson. Now I know what people are going to say. Why 40 Smith and Wesson? Well, it makes major power factor in USPSA, which is why they offer it in a 40.
That's why. Really?
Yeah.
I did not know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Huge.
I don't shoot you. I'm not cool enough to shoot USPSA.
Yeah, it has a huge beaver tail on the rear, which is kind of cool. It still is an inside the frame slide,
Nice.
even though it is nice. It is 1911 style. If you look at the
I wonder what
pictures,
the rear sights look like.
They look
Yeah.
real nice.
Because there's no picture of the rear sights on this.
Yeah, it just kind of shows that it's adjustable and it's in a dovetail kind of
You
way.
can
But the
find the
backside.
Yeah, CZ Shadow 2, CZ75
Yeah.
Shadow 2 rear sight.
It's
Same
pretty
one.
much
Okay.
I want one of these because
Oh, scroll down. You'll see the picture.
the rear side is serrated so that
Oh,
it
this is cool.
doesn't block light. It is angled so that it helps
I wonder how
not
it shoots.
glare. Okay, here you want to know how it shoots?
Mhm.
All I'm going to say is I have no idea, but because of what it is, I'm sure it shoots awesome.
Hey, dude. Go
I
ahead.
have not shot a CZ75 that has shot bad, or being a Dan Wesson, because it's kind of a 1911 / CZ75. The standard 1911 2011s wide body versions don't fit my hand quite right, but the CZ75 versions do, and that's what makes me like this gun. It doesn't have a grip safety, and it'll fit my hand better.
Yay!
It also has front. I can't even talk tonight. Front cocking serrations. Looks like it's got grooves on the top of the slide to help with glare, stuff like that. But yeah,
All right. This
You know-
also takes, the full size model also takes, what is it?
CZ75
Double stack
mags.
magazine?
Yes.
Yeah, CZ75 mags.
19 plus
It's
one.
like, yeah, what? Yeah, 19 plus 1, it better be double stack.
Well, here's the thing with
But
the
yeah,
double stack
yeah.
CZ mags, though. Yeah, they're not stupid wide like the 2011s. This thing,
No.
it's both companies' premier guns. It's combined in 1911s, which Dan Wesson does really well, with CZ75 like Shadow 2, which CZ does really well. So you just change the slide up a bit. They put it together. They gave it the 1911 type trigger, so it's that pull straight back trigger. And
Yes.
truthfully, I mean, in the world of triggers, it's the 1911 trigger is the golden standard everybody goes by. But when you go with double action, single action, especially when you're going with factory triggers, CZ is number one on a factory trigger
But
with double action, single action.
So-
but this is single action only, so that's where the 1911 shines.
Yep.
So is this designed, I'm guessing, for competition?
Oh yeah, this is
Okay.
definitely not a carry gun at that weight. I mean, you could just have fun at the range with it, but this is to compete in, I'm guessing, USPSA limited, and you get like people like me. It's like, okay, the CZ Shadow 2 is nice, but I really like the safeties of a 1911. They fit my hand. The CZ frame fits my hand better, stuff like that. Straight pull trigger is better. It's really what it's designed for. And when you compare it to like a 2011,
Yeah.
your price is not terrible. Or even if you compare it with like the Shadow 2, which I think, what are those, like $1,400 or something? I don't know off the top of my head, but
Yeah, Shadow 2 is around 14 to 1500 MSRP. All I'm going with is MSRP.
Right.
I'm figuring this thing right here, when it hits the market, it'll probably be $200 to $300 cheaper than what's listed on their website, because that's how their MSRP works with their other stuff. So now you're getting pretty much an out of the box competition gun, because that's what this ends up being. And when you even look at a Glock dude, once you get it out of the box, once you buy it, you're not running to a IPSEC and shooting. You might shoot in a Glock match, but you're not running in the IDPA match. You're going to have about another $1,000 worth of work done to it.
Which I'll
And
be the
this is-
first to say, this gun can outshoot me.
Oh yeah.
Well, heck,
Easy.
I'm a bad shot. Most guns can outshoot me.
But no, what I'm looking at is this, because I mean, as someone who shot, I mean, that's what it really comes down to. Do you believe that a company with the track record of these two can put in good work with a new
Yes.
gun?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do.
Well, I would say just yes on the Dan Wesson name. I mean, Dan Wesson is a very well-known
Well,
name.
didn't CZ buy Dan Wesson?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So Dan Wesson, what happened is Dan Wesson was a freaking banging. They sold out like early, and they've been owned by several different companies. But CZ is the latest one to buy them, and they just started putting out premium stuff again. This would be one of the guns I'd probably save up a couple of years for. I mean, it might have some growing pains, or it might have some weird stuff happen. I hope it doesn't, because again, when companies rush to get guns out, I'm like, what are you rushing for? Make sure you get all the burrs out of it. Make sure you work out all the kinks. Why are you sitting here waiting for somebody to drop $1,800 on a damn gun and then have the customer figure out what's wrong? I think that's just bad customer service, especially when people are going to buy it for competition guns, and then you get your new gun out and have it not work.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And they have good names behind them. That's, like you're saying. I mean, you got Dan Wesson, which even though they've been owned by a few different companies, they're still producing decent products. CZ has all for ages produced decent products. So you're looking at a decent product, hopefully. And I think they'll take care of, if they have problems with it, I think they'll take care of it. I mean, time will tell, but I think this is a new pistol that will catch on with certain people.
Also, I believe a lot of the problems with new guns are magazines, and this has a tried and true magazine. It's going to use CZ75 mags. Done. You know what I mean? So that should be good. It's going to use. Now, the only thing is holsters, but I feel with the way it's set up, you think this will use a regular CZ75 holster, because that's pretty much the entire bottom.
I don't know, because the slide looks like it's taller.
This looks like a 1911 slide. I mean, maybe a 1911 holster will work.
Yeah, and that's the thing, but it's got that square trigger guard, so yeah.
Maybe a SIG 1911 holster will work.
The thing is, though, is I think once they hit the market, I don't think there will be a lack of competition or outside the waistband holsters for them. I really don't think. I think people are going to start making them, because I don't think it's that big of a change for a lot of them. Modify a 1911 holster or modify a CZ holster.
Yeah, and plus with the number of people just making holsters at this point, you can get someone to make you one.
Yeah, that's true too.
Oh.
Yes. So there is that, and I know everybody else is talking about it, but we're going to talk about it too. And then I don't know if you guys have anything else to say.
I mean, it
Nope.
looks cool. Like Tony said, I'm kind of at the thing where I'm trying not to spend a whole lot of money on stuff right now. So that $1,700 price tag is kind of
Right. And
out of my price range
besides,
right now.
I don't want one with a red trigger and red grips and a red base pad. I want blue grips, blue trigger.
Well, again, if it uses freaking 1911 triggers, you can buy whatever trigger you want.
Yeah, right. And that's the one thing that I couldn't find if it was like a 2011 trigger, because a standard 1911 trigger won't work because it's not wide enough. But,
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I bet if you were to call them and say, I want a blue trigger, they'd be like, yeah, we could probably do that.
they might. You never
They
know.
rattle
Just
can
tell
that
them,
sucker
I'm
on up.
Chad Wallace from the Gun and Gear Review Podcast. Don't you
Well-
know how important I think I am?
Maybe I'll call them and they can tell me no on the phone when I say, hey, can I get one of these for a review? So I guess now that we're done with that, we're going to go into something that maybe most of us, including Tony, can afford. Or I should say, including me, Tony can afford this. They brought this out a while back, but I'm going to throw it in here. It's the Leatherman Signal. And what it is of course, it's a multi-tool. You know, it's typical multi-tool.
It's a
It is
Leatherman.
yeah, it's $119.95. You can get a bunch of different colors and either stainless or coated. Some of them are pretty cool looking. You know, depends on what you like. It has, of course, needle nose pliers. It has regular pliers too, which is they're kind of built into the needle nose part, so it's kind of a combo. Replaceable wire cutters, replaceable hard wire cutters. So when you're stealing that copper, you can, cut it. Wire strippers. So if you need to strip that copper wire, it has a combo knife, which basically is a serrated blade knife. It has a saw by itself, and it has a hammer.
Oh, I thought they had knives just made to cut combos. I'm like, you can eat those whole. You don't have to cut them.
I know. I eat them whole. What do you know? It does have a little hammer in it built in, so you can hammer stuff. I don't think it's very big, but you could probably drive in.
I just use the handle on the thing that is a hammer.
You could drive in a roll pin for your AR build. Okay. It has an awl with a thread loop, so you can stab things. A can opener, because we all know we got to open our food, and more importantly, it has a bottle opener so I can open my beer. It has a 1/4-inch hex bit driver, combo wrench, 1/4-inch. It has a little carabiner built into it, a 3/16 box wrench, and if you don't like carrying guns, you can carry this. It has a safety whistle.
Whistle in case you get attacked by a freaking horny bear.
I don't know what. Maybe a cougar. Okay.
Hey now.
Dadgum, man. Careful.
And I can't even read this word. It's a ferrocerium rod.
Ferrocerium rod.
Yes,
yeah,
for fire starting. And built in, it has a diamond-coated sharpener. I don't know how you can sharpen the blade on it with the built-in sharpener, but it does have a built-in sharpener blade.
Well, I guess if you're carrying 2 blades in the woods or a knife in that, you can use your Leatherman to sharpen your knife.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Because if you're out in the woods a lot, you're going to have a fixed blade knife.
I mean, let's face it, it's a Leatherman. These things are great tools. I've got a couple of them. I keep one in my car. I got one in my garage. I got one in the house. I mean,
yeah, I have them.
Now I've got one Leatherman and a couple knockoffs.
Yeah. Right, and that's the thing is, you have Leatherman, you have all the other knockoffs. This thing's 4.5 inches long, basically. So it's not like it's super small. It's not very heavy. It weighs 7.5 ounces. So, it's got a lot of good stuff, especially if you're going to throw it in like your glove box or something like that. I figured Christmas is getting close. This might be something you want to give somebody or get. I mean, they're always useful, not super expensive. They're one of the Oregon companies that I will talk about now. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm
Tony.
checking it out, right? Because I'm like, all right, one, Leatherman always costs more than Gerber, and I would buy the Gerber. Mistake. I should have went and bought the Leatherman because I broke all the Gerber multi-tools I ever had.
Well, you are a Marine, right?
I do that, but here's the funny part. I bought the Huskies from Lowe's or Home Depot, one of the twos, and I haven't broken any of those yet, so I'm just saying. As far as... What's up?
I think Home Depot has Husky and Lowe's got the Craftsman brand.
Whatever. I got the Huskies. And it hasn't let me down yet. I think as far as stuff goes that's on here, this is about the most useless one yet as far as their signal device. I'm sitting here going, wait a minute, what? Like, there's another one like the Free 2. At least it gives you, like some different stuff, fingernail file,
right.
They got a little pair of scissors on it. I'm like, a ferrocerium rod that's the size of like 2 paper clips taped to beside each other. No, thank you. And the world's tiniest rape whistle. Again, no thank you. But other than that, yeah, it has some cool stuff. But for those couple of things, you could have more useful tools. If
Right.
this is your survival tool I mean, one, if this is your only survival tool that you're going to survive with your Leatherman, you have a horrible plan. Um,
Horrible plan.
if this is your secondary, your plan is still horrible. Now, if this is like the third thing you fall back on, there are better tools that can be on this, and you can make a little small fire kit and keep it. And even that horrible idea of the Altoids tin would be a better idea than this. So, as a survival tool, as a multi tool, hey, Leatherman are awesome, but understand all of these tools are friggin' compromise for good tools. I mean, truthfully, the only thing I find good with a multi tool that works almost every time is the vice grips. I mean, or the pliers. But everything else is a compromise.
And it is, and that's kind of with multi-tools. I just
Hey,
noticed
Chad,
they had
just
a
so
new
you know,
one.
if you watch the video, that the knife sharpener that actually detaches from the pocket
Well-
tool, so you can sharpen blades on the tool itself.
Okay, like
It's
you
a-
said, like I said earlier, it's a good thing my co-hosts do something because, I don't.
Yeah, this took a significant portion of my life up because I clicked on a Nothing Fancy video to watch that, and
Oh dear God, that took the whole day.
I don't. Yeah, I was like, I don't have time for this, so I actually watched two other people's videos, and again, I think it's everything else is quality, but I think the little silly whistle
Yeah.
and the knife sharpener take up room, and the Pharisee rod take up room for something else that would be better. And since these things come with pouches, if you're really going to use it as your maybe a go bag item, you know what I mean, to put it in there because it's like $100 and something bucks, it would be better to get a solid Pharisee rod and a solid whistle, and then just use the Ranger band or the bicycle inner tube kind of thing, and rubber band that to the case. And you'll have a bigger Pharisee rod. You'll have a freaking separate pistol. I mean, excuse me, whistle.
Yeah.
And it would all be together in one thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, okay, Leatherman makes so many of these style tools. I'm sure you could find one that you want if that's what your thing is. I mean, you can get this one in black and like tan, which is coyote tan. It's kind of cool looking. That's all I got.
Okay, if you're gonna use, and here's my thing: if you're gonna use this as equipment out in the woods, get one that actually shows up if you drop it on the ground.
Yeah,
So they have
actually get the the
Tiffany
aqua
blue,
one or
aqua,
The red.
yeah,
yeah,
or the red, yeah.
those are ones that actually show up if you drop it.
I completely understand this. I have like pink and orange screwdriver handles for tools that I use to work on stuff. Yeah, because when I drop them, I can see them.
Mm-hmm.
Same type of deal. Okay. Well, now that you know that these things are made in Oregon and they're quality products, you can go look up whatever you want. On to now is something that, since Zane's not here, we can talk about legitimately. Bergara is making a B14R. Now, here's the only catch. MSRP is $11.50. But what it is, yeah, that's the ouch part. It is basically their B14 rifle in 22 long rifle. So they designed it as a precision trainer. They even say that. It's kind of cool. Designed dimensions of a standard Remington 700 platform. So it will fit compatible Remington 700 stocks, bases, Traegers even, which gives it kind of a cool ability in that market. The magazine, it's a single stack 22 with 10 rounds, but it is in a standard AICS magazine package. As you know, I should say short action AICS magazine. So you can have a 22 trainer in this length. It does run a 4140 Bergara barrel. It is 1 in 16 twist. It is 18 inches long. It is a threaded muzzle. It does weigh 9.25 pounds. The stock length is 38. The pull length 38 inches with spacers. It does use standard Remington 700 compatible scope mounts. It is their HMR stock molded mini chassis, integrated OD flush cup, swing swivels, adjustable cheek piece, adjustable length of pull, and a free floated barrel. Yeah, I think that's about it for that. They use a floating bolt head design with a non-rotating gas shield for the bolt. Yeah, I think that's about it for anything. It's a 10-round magazine, if that matters, if I didn't say it. The only reason I put this in the show notes, one, it's new, but I kind of like the idea that you can use whatever you want in this thing, especially if you're using it for a trainer or if you're shooting one of those like 200-yard rimfire matches. This might be a good rifle to do that with. You can set it up just like your regular rifle and use it as a true trainer. It is bolt action. Like I said, it takes 700 triggers, all that stuff. The price is a little high, but besides that, I thought it was a pretty cool idea.
I think it's a cool idea if you're using it as a trainer. Because what happened is, of course, when I started researching this, I fell in the rabbit hole and I started looking up what the 22 competitions are. There's two different ones that are really big now to to replicate long distance shooting with 22s, because long distance shooting to 1,000 yards in those competitions, you need, a lot of range. So what they did was reduce the size, reduce the, size of the ammo. So now all of a sudden you make it a 22 precision rifle course, and you can do it on a 200 to 300 yard range. So that's what these are. So if you have a regular Bergara B14 and you compete with it, you can put your optics, you can put everything you use on your regular gun, including using your bags and everything, because the weight's the same. And you can run this and even shoot competition in this, because one of the things to be able to host these competitions, 22 rimfire, is you have to at least have one course every month. So, dude, with the 22 ammo, and no, you're not going to use the cheapest 22 ammo. You'll probably get like Ely or something like that, or Nora 22 ammo and go compete, but it's a heck of a lot cheaper. And you can get that trigger time with a 22 long rifle in your entire setup for your precision rifle. So when you go out and shoot 6mm or 6.5 Creedmoor, you got mad trigger time on the exact same thing. So I see this as a trainer, but it's a lot of money to drop on it. But for these competitions, people either they start at $200 and go up to $2,000 on these 22 competitions for the rifles. So it's not that unusual for that competition, actually.
Awesome.
I would say if you already have a Bergara and you want to do a 22, like Tony said, to match your Bergara, fine. But I would be very tempted if you're not married to the Bergara platform, I'd be very tempted to look at the Ruger Precision Rimfire or a Tactical Solutions or something by Magnum Research, because they put out
I
really
totally
good
agree with
stuff for around 500. The Ruger Precision Rimfire, I'm looking at it right now, is $529, which means you can probably pick it up for about $475. Tactical
here's
Solutions.
the thing. Here's the thing with these, because I went and read the rules on some of these. They have like what is it? MSRP. Like one of the categories is MSRP for the gun and the optic, not the rings, not any other accessories, but just the gun and the optic can't exceed like $1,000 for one of the courses. Well, boom, the Ruger Precision and a decent $400 optic, and you're right there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going by MSRP. This, you won't be able to use the Bergara in that particular category. And I'm like, yeah, unless you're married to the Bergara, there's no reason to get a 9.5 pound 22.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially when you got things like the Savage Mark, what is it, Mark IV, for like $300,
or the
and then
Ruger precision rifle in
or the
22.
Ruger precision rifle, and and
And
and drop $1,000 on everything and go in there and just kick butt.
dude, I've got a
Yeah, it's true.
Tactical Solutions 1022, and I take that to the range, and I can hit a tennis ball with that at 100 yards all day long.
Yeah, and Matthew Dropco said in the comments a 722 from Keystone. Keystone has their precision rifle set up too. So I mean, there's a lot of them, and truthfully, that's one of the things after I do a what's the name of that Appleseed shoot, because I really want to work on my positions and stuff like that, and also get the great history lesson Appleseed offers. I might look into getting into one of these events because I also want to learn to be better with an optic, and one of the better ways is just to compete and talk to people that use them.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're shooting 22s, it's not going to cost you arm and a leg.
Yep. Yeah. So I guess we can get back to more stuff. Next up is listener feedback. We actually have some more feedback. This is from iTunes. It's from, I don't know, PSCIPIO. So like EIEIO 03. It says he gave us 5 stars. We appreciate that. One of the few I can listen through all the way. It says, I listen to a lot of firearms related podcasts, and most I get halfway or a bit more through and start to lose interest, especially the 1+ hour long ones, as we're at like an hour and 6 minutes. I have yet to turn off an episode early. The guys keep G&G short and to the point, and there's not a lot of Captain Tangent side conversations most of the time. I added that in. The funny thing is, most of the items they review don't really apply to me as a 1911, 2011 shooter and an AR snob. But who cares? I still got a lot of good reviews from them, and at least they share my same feelings on Springfield Armory.
Isn't it the best? We love Springfield Armory.
So, yeah, you know, thank you. That's a, you know, and at least when we're talking about a Springfield Armory thing, we at least say, hey, we're biased for this reason. Like the Hellcat, it's like, hey, it's a decent, it looks like it's going to be a decent product, but hey, we're biased because we don't like what Springfield did. You know, there's a few companies like that we're biased towards. We're not really biased towards their products as much as them. Right.
And we'll tell you. One of the things that, and I wanted to tell you guys, one of the things that I'm trying to do in 2020 is actually get higher end AR companies and 1911 and 2011 companies to actually donate to the diversity shoot, want some of their products so they can get out there. Because if I hold 6 to 8 to 12 shooting events in the Northeast a year, they don't have to send a rep out because, wow, product is going to be at the diversity shoot. So that's what I'm working on, to get higher end ARs and higher end just firearms out there. Not because I want them, but because I think it can lure tactical Timmies in. I think if you're near me or near one where one of the events are, and you know they have a $3,000 or $4,000 pistol there, this will be your chance to see it for a $20 ticket and put rounds through it. So that's what I'm working on. So hopefully in 2020, we will have some higher end stuff for the snobs out there.
Like me?
Oh, yeah, like you. Yeah, because I look at you and all I think is Gucci and high end.
High Point and what? And Jimenez or
yeah, Jimenez and High Point, and
yeah,
Schaefer Light.
Oh, what kind of
optic?
What kind of optics are those?
I figured as much.
NC Star.
Yes, that's me. So Tony, since we're done with the review section, we're done with everything else. You can talk about the Second Is for Everyone diversity shoot and maybe what you're going to be doing on Saturday.
On Saturday, I'm going to be at the Washington, D.C. Second Amendment rally with a lot of you guys, and I can't wait for you people out there to come. And if you can't come, hey, it is what it is. If you can go on your social media and just tell people about it, maybe they can come or get excited about it. Anyway, If you want to read more about it or hear more about it, go to secondamendmentrally.com. If you want to find out what I do, you can go to diversityshoot.com. Our next event is in December, first week of December. I think it's December 5th. Come out if you want to come out, have some fun. We're going to have some prizes. We got some cool stuff in. What we do is introduce people to Second Amendment. Their Second Amendment rights here in Jersey. Also, we get them to pew pew a lot and shoot different kinds of guns. And we try to get cool guns there too, but that's really, dependent on what I bring or what my instructors bring. And like they had the new, what the heck is that shotgun that we kept saying? The Rock Island,
the like VR
80.
60,
80.
I think 60, 80, whatever.
We had the semi-automatic shotgun that looks kind of weird, but yeah, we were blasting through that. We had the bullpup high point there. It just depends on who shows up, what guns we have, and that's why I'm trying to get other guns there from the manufacturers themselves. But it's a lot of fun, and we talk about their rights, and we talk about jacked up stuff here in Jersey, like the Marine Corps veteran that pretty much got arrested because he had two 30-round magazines in his Marine Corps gear from 20 years ago. And because of the domestic dispute, they searched his house, found the magazines, no rifle, no gun, just the old mags with his old gear. And he's looking at 36 months in jail. His trial comes up on November 15th. And we talk about stuff like that and the ridiculousness of, gun control laws that quote unquote do something. So anyway, if you want to help us with our mission, you can donate to the Second is for Everyone on GoFundMe. You can donate to our Patreon account on patreon.com and become a Patreon. You can buy a t-shirt at diversityshoot.com. That's going to be great. They go all the way up to 6X. And you can also purchase stuff from Black Bag Resources by typing in 2A4E in the discount code. This object or whatever you order will be brought to Diversity Shoot by Sean Fisher's Hot Little Hands, and we'll be able to give it away at the event, raffle it off, or whatever. So that's what I do. Thank you for what you guys allow me to do on this show. Really appreciate it. And thank you for all you guys that listen every week.
Awesome. So send questions, comments, or feedback to gungearreview@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. It'll help us out. Check out all the other great shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv. Be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for reviews and whatever else we post. Check out Facebook and Instagram at Firearms Insider. And I will be at Blade Show West in Portland on Saturday. If you happen to be there, stop by because DC is clear across the nation for me, so I am not going to be there. So I will be at Blade Show. And thank you for listening to the largest pound for pound podcast on the network. And we are
no, by the way, the real reason Chad can't be in DC is ever since he was drunk in 1812 when the British burned down the original White House, Chad was outside singing the roof is on fire and drinking mead. And they banned him from Washington, D.C. for his entire natural life. Oh, and now you know.
Thanks. And we are out.
Wow.
Oh, man. Something is wrong with